My name is Maya Chen and I was 26 years old when my best friend Jessica stole my business idea and turned it into $1 million company. We had been best friends since college, the kind of friends who finish each other's sentences and share everything. Or so I thought. I had spent 2 years developing a revolutionary app for virtual interior design, working nights and weekends while holding down my day job. I showed Jessica everything, every feature, every code, every business plan. She was my best friend. I trusted her completely. That was my biggest mistake. One morning I woke up to 50 text messages and 100 notifications. Jessica had launched a MY app under her name. She had filed the patents, registered the trademark, and secured $2 million in venture capital funding. All using my work. My ideas. My code. I called her immediately, my hands shaking so badly I could barely hold my phone. She answered on the first ring, her voice bright and cheerful like nothing was wrong. Maya. Did you see? We launched. Isn't it amazing? I could barely breathe. We? Jessica, that is my app. That is my code. You stole my work. There was a pause, then her voice changed. Cold. Calculating. Not the friend I knew. Actually, Maya, it is my app. I filed all the paperwork. My name is on everything. You have no proof you created any of this. You were just helping me brainstorm. That is what friends do, right? They help each other. I wanted to scream. I have emails. I have files. I have timestamps on everything showing I created this. She laughed, and it was the cruelest sound I had ever heard. Good luck proving that in court. I have lawyers, investors, and documentation. What do you have? Some files on your laptop? Please. She hung up on me. I sat there in my apartment, staring at my phone, watching Jessica's face appear on every tech blog and news site. Jessica Park launches revolutionary design app. 26-year-old entrepreneur secures $2 million funding. The next big thing in tech. My face should have been in those articles. My name should have been on that company. I had created everything from scratch, working 80-hour weeks, sacrificing relationships and sleep and my health to build something amazing. And Jessica had stolen it all with a smile. I spent the next 3 days crying, then I stopped crying and started planning. Because Jessica made one crucial mistake. She thought I would just give up. She thought I was too nice, too soft, too trusting to fight back. She was wrong. I was going to take back everything she stole from me, and I was going to make sure she lost everything in the process. The first thing I did was call a lawyer. Not just any lawyer, but David Chen, intellectual property attorney who specialized in tech theft cases. I brought him everything I had. Every email I had sent Jessica about the app. Every text message discussing features. Every file with metadata showing I had created them. Every version of the code with my digital signature. David looked through everything for 3 hours without saying a word. Finally he looked up at me. This is one of the most clear-cut cases of intellectual property theft I have ever seen. You have documentation of everything. Timestamps, communications, original files. The only question is why she thought she could get away with it. I told him about Jessica's lawyers and her confidence. He smiled. Her lawyers are corporate lawyers, good for business deals but not for litigation. She has no idea what is coming. We filed a lawsuit within a week. Intellectual property theft, breach of trust, fraud, and several other charges I barely understood. The lawsuit was for $10 million in damages and full ownership of the company. Jessica's response came through her lawyers, dismissing the suit as frivolous and claiming I was a jealous friend trying to capitalize on her success. That response was a mistake. Because it meant she was going to fight instead of settle, which meant everything would become public. David warned me it would get ugly. She is going to try to destroy your reputation. She will claim you are unstable, vindictive, that you are lying. Can you handle that? I thought about watching Jessica take credit for my work, watching her become famous while I had nothing. I can handle anything, I said. Just make sure she pays for what she did. The discovery phase was brutal. Jessica's lawyers tried every tactic to discredit me. They claimed I was obsessed with her, jealous of her success, mentally unstable. They dug through my social media, my dating history, my college records, looking for anything they could use. But David was better. He subpoenaed Jessica's computers, her emails, her text messages. And what we found was devastating. Jessica had been planning to steal my idea for over a year. We found emails where she talked about waiting for me to finish the development, then launching it herself. We found messages to investors where she claimed full credit for everything. We found texts to her boyfriend where she joked about how easy it was to manipulate me, how I trusted her so completely I never saw it coming. Maya is so naive, one text read. She actually thinks we are building this together. She has no idea I am going to cut her out completely. Reading those messages broke something in me. This was not a spur-of-the-moment decision or a business opportunity she could not resist. This was calculated, planned, deliberate. She had been my friend while plotting to betray me the entire time. Every coffee date, every late-night working session, every moment I thought we were building something together, she was just waiting for the right moment to steal everything. David saw my face and put a hand on my shoulder. This is good for us. This proves premeditation. This proves she knew exactly what she was doing. But Maya, you need to prepare yourself. This is going to go public. The tech world is watching this case. Everyone is going to know what she did to you. I wiped my eyes. Good. Let everyone see who she really is. The trial started 6 months after I filed the lawsuit. The courtroom was packed with journalists, tech bloggers, investors, and curious spectators. Jessica walked in wearing a designer suit, her hair perfect, her makeup flawless. She looked like the successful entrepreneur everyone believed she was. I wore a simple dress and carried a folder full of evidence. The first week was Jessica's lawyers trying to paint me as unstable and opportunistic. They brought in witnesses who said I was obsessed with Jessica, that I followed her around in college, that I copied her style and tried to be like her. It was all lies, but they presented it so convincingly that I saw some jury members nodding. I wanted to stand up and scream that they were wrong, but David had warned me to stay calm. Let them talk, he said. We will destroy their narrative with facts. Our turn came in week 2. David presented the emails, the timestamps, the code files, everything showing I had created the app from scratch. He showed the jury my original sketches from 2 years ago, my development notes, my business plans. Then he showed them Jessica's emails admitting she was planning to steal it. The courtroom went silent. You could hear people shifting in their seats, whispers spreading through the gallery. Then David played a recording. I had forgotten about it until David found it in my files. A voice memo from a year ago where Jessica and I were discussing the app. In the recording, Jessica said, "Maya, this is incredible. You are a genius. This app is going to change everything. I am so lucky to have a friend who shares her brilliant ideas with me." Her own voice, calling it my idea, my work. The look on Jessica's face was pure horror. Jessica's lawyers tried to recover, claiming the voice memo was taken out of context, that we were just brainstorming, that friends share ideas all the time. But David was relentless. He brought up the texts where Jessica joked about manipulating me. He showed emails where she told investors she had created everything alone. He demonstrated that every single line of original code had my digital signature, that Jessica had not written a single line herself. She had just copied my work and claimed it as her own. By the end of week 2, Jessica looked shaken. Her perfect composure was cracking. She kept whispering urgently to her lawyers, who were frantically taking notes. I sat there feeling nothing. No satisfaction, no anger. Just cold determination to see this through to the end. The final blow came when David called one of Jessica's investors to the stand. Marcus Webb, a venture capitalist who had put $500,000 into the company. David asked him a simple question. Mr. Webb, when Jessica presented this app to you, did she mention that someone else had developed the core technology? Marcus shifted uncomfortably. No. She claimed she had developed everything herself. She said she had spent years learning to code and building this from scratch. That was a major factor in my decision to invest. I was impressed by her technical skills. David showed him my code files with timestamps. These files show that Maya Chen developed all the core technology months before Jessica even registered her company. Did you know that? Marcus's face went red. No. I had no idea. If I had known she stole someone else's work, I never would have invested. He turned to look at Jessica with pure fury. You committed fraud. You lied to me and cost me $500,000. More investors testified with similar stories. Jessica had lied to all of them, claiming sole credit for work she had stolen. By the end of week 3, Jessica's billion-dollar company was collapsing. Investors were pulling out. Partners were terminating contracts. The app was being removed from stores pending the lawsuit outcome. Everything she had built on my stolen work was crumbling. The jury deliberated for 2 days. When they came back, the 4 women stood and read the verdict. We find in favor of the plaintiff, Maya Chen, on all counts. We award her full ownership of the company, $10 million in damages, and order Jessica Park to pay all legal fees. The courtroom erupted. Jessica's face went white. Her lawyers were already whispering about appeals. But I knew they had lost. Justice had been served. The aftermath was swift and brutal for Jessica. The company that bore her name was transferred to me. Every article that had praised her was updated with corrections. Jessica Park found guilty of stealing business partner's work. Tech entrepreneur loses everything in theft lawsuit. The dark side of Silicon Valley, when friends steal your dreams. Jessica's reputation was destroyed. The tech community that had celebrated her now shunned her. She could not get meetings, could not secure funding, could not even get a job. She had become infamous for all the wrong reasons. I should have felt vindicated. Instead, I just felt tired. Tired of fighting, tired of being angry, tired of the whole situation. I had won, but the victory felt hollow. I had lost 2 years of my life and my best friend, even if she had never really been my friend at all. 3 months after the trial, Jessica called me. I almost did not answer, but curiosity got the better of me. What do you want, Jessica? Her voice was different. Smaller. Broken. Maya, I am so sorry. I know that does not mean anything now, but I need you to know I am sorry. I was greedy and ambitious and I thought I could get away with it. I thought you would never fight back. I was wrong about everything. I waited. She continued. I have lost everything. My investors sued me. My boyfriend left me. I cannot get work anywhere. Everyone knows what I did. My life is over. Part of me wanted to feel sympathy. But I remembered the text messages, the calculated betrayal, the year of planning to steal from me. You did this to yourself, Jessica. You made choices. You hurt me deliberately. These are the consequences. She started crying. I know. I know I deserve this. But Maya, we were best friends. Do you remember when we stayed up all night talking about our dreams? When we promised we would always support each other? That meant something to me. It really did. I just got lost somewhere along the way. I closed my eyes. The Jessica I was best friends with would never have stolen from me. Would never have betrayed me. You are not that person anymore. Maybe you never were. She was quiet for a long moment. What are you going to do with the company? I had been thinking about that question for weeks. I am going to run it the right way. Honestly. Ethically. Everything you were not. And I am going to make it even bigger than you ever could have. Not because I want revenge, but because I want to prove that doing things right works better than doing things wrong. Jessica laughed, but it was a sad, broken sound. You probably will. You were always the talented one. I was just the one who was better at selling myself. That was my only real skill. She paused. For what it is worth, your app is brilliant. It always was. You are going to change the industry. Then she hung up. I stood there holding my phone, feeling emotions I could not name. That was the last time I ever spoke to Jessica. I heard through mutual friends that she moved back to her hometown, got a job in retail, and disappeared from the tech world completely. Some people said I was too harsh, that I should have forgiven her. But they did not understand. This was not about forgiveness. This was about justice. About making sure that people who steal and lie and betray face consequences. I relaunched the app under my own name 6 months after the trial. Design Space by Maya Chen. I did interviews, telling my story honestly. Not focusing on revenge, but on resilience. On fighting back when someone tries to take your dreams. The response was overwhelming. The app exploded, reaching 5 million downloads in the first month. Investors who had pulled out of Jessica's company came to me with new offers. I turned most of them down, accepting only partnerships that aligned with my values. Within a year, Design Space was valued at $50 million. Within 2 years, $100 million. I was on magazine covers, speaking at conferences, being called a role model for young entrepreneurs. Everything Jessica had tried to steal, I had earned legitimately. And it felt incredible. People always ask me if I regret how things turned out. If I wish I had just let it go and moved on. My answer is always the same, absolutely not. What Jessica did was wrong, and she needed to face consequences. If I had stayed silent, she would have gotten away with it. She would have built an empire on stolen work and never faced justice. Other people might have been emboldened to do the same thing. By fighting back, I sent a message: stealing someone's work has consequences. Betraying trust has consequences. You cannot just take what someone else created and expect to get away with it. Some people think revenge is petty or beneath them. But this was not revenge. This was justice. This was me refusing to be a victim. This was me taking back what was rightfully mine.